Okay, I came with tissue. I am Dawn Anna. I'm the mother of Lauren Townsend, who was murdered in the library, and I'm very sincerely honored to be representing the families today. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for everyone who came today. Governor Polis, thank you. Governor Hickenlooper, thank you. Honored guests. Families, I know it was tough to come here today, thank you. Students, community members, thank you for being here today to pay tribute and remembrance to our 13. And recognition to all those who were affected 20 years ago today. 20 years. Can it really be that long? Can it truly be 20 years since I've seen my Lauren? I mean sincerely. She could walk through my back door this afternoon and I'd just say, hey, where you been? Because she'd always call out, hey Mom, I'm home. And I'd just look at her and say, where you been? For the past 20 years. You know, there's a question that all of us have been asked a lot. How are you doing? How are you doing after all this time? It's a valid question. And personally, I need to kind of stop and gut check. How am I doing? How are we doing after 20 years without our loved ones? Fine isn't an answer. It's a little joke. Fine isn't an answer. Because really that's something one says to brush over the question and just move on to something else. Because that's the answer one gives to make the other person feel better. How are we surviving? You know the secret to surviving is that there is no secret to surviving. You don't get a quick pass to the front of the line. And there's no car to whisk you away and help you escape. You don't get to escape the pain. You simply and bravely face it. Every second of every minute of every day. Surviving takes every breath that you struggle to take. And then, one day, you realize it's not so dark. The sun's shining. And you can feel the warmth on your face again. How are we? We're changed. We're weaker in some places, but hopefully we're stronger in most of them. Our hearts have giant holes in them, but our hearts are bigger than they were 20 years ago. We've all found ways to reach out to others. And it started by helping the students at Columbine by building them a new library and a new atrium. And then we went on And we worked at raising money for the memorial. And you know, it's continued for 20 years by each of us in our own personal experiences, finding ways to help others who are going through the same pain and the same heartbreak as ours. How are we? We're more empathetic. School shootings, any shooting, brings us right back to that same place we were on April 20th, 1999. We're sick to our stomachs. We're on our knees, and we're searching for answers. We're hurting for those families, and we know, we're not just wondering, we know how those families feel. And every cell of our bodies understands what each of them is going through. We're in their homes, and we know how they feel and what they're doing. Nothing is a headline anymore. It's a visceral experience. Yes, we're changed. Birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, weddings, births, they're all celebrated with a twinge of emptiness. Something's missing. No, somebody's missing. And always will be. You know, we wonder what our loved ones would look like. We wonder what they'd be doing. But we can hear them laughing. We can see them smiling. They're standing beside us. And it's, oh, the possibilities of what could have been, and the possibility of those possibilities. Healing takes work. There's no rule book, no time frame, and so importantly, no judgment. Grief is as individual as a fingerprint, and everyone who suffers does what's right for him. But we do celebrate. Some of us in the past 20 years have had more children. Some of us have become parents and aunts and uncles, and some of us have become grandparents. Yeah, with another one on the way. But we've celebrated life. And we've tried to share what we've learned with others. Because if we can't take this horrible pain and turn it into something positive, something loving, then how can we honor them? How can we honor our 13 if we don't reach out and help others? Because the serendipitous glory of helping others is that when we do, we start and we continue to heal. How are we? We're grieving. 20 years later, you're grieving? Yes, we're still grieving. And for some of us, we're finally grieving. There is no greater gift that you can give someone who's grieving than to ask them about their loved one. And then really listen. Grief is forever. It doesn't go away. It becomes a part of you every step, every breath. We never stop grieving because we never stop loving. It's a fact of life. It's a fact of death. Grief and love are intertwined. One accompanies the other. To love them is to grieve them, and to grieve them is to love them, and to love the world by continuing to live our lives with honor and joy and giving and love. That's why I'm excited about today. I'm excited about April 20th being a day of giving, a day of recommitment. When Casey Summers, the former principal of Columbine, came to me after a volleyball game almost 4 years ago, and he said, "Dawn, I've heard you. The Columbine students are going to make April 20th a day of giving." I started to cry, and they were tears of joy. What better tribute to our beloved 13 than to have the students of Columbine use this day, to go out and contribute in a positive way to their community. This is the third year that my husband Bruce and I have joined them, working with them to help others. My daughter joined us today, my granddaughter joined us today, and we work side by side with the students. I've heard nothing but inspirational responses from the students and the recipients of those acts of kindness, of how good they feel on this day. Listen to those words, how good they feel on this day. What a paradigm shift. Come on, how good they feel on this day. Isn't that amazing? A day of service, a day of recommitment in honor of those whose lives were so tragically taken and who were forever traumatized. Something wonderful from something so horrible. This is how we honor them. Lauren, Kyle, Matt, Kelly, Danny, Rachel, Isaiah, Corey, Daniel, Cassie, John, Stephen, Dave, this is how we honor you. And each of you can do the same. Just as 20 years ago in the aftermath of the massacre, we wanted to be better people, to honor them, so should we continue each day to do the same. Their lights have ignited us. We can shine for them. You know, sometimes I wonder how I'm going to get through this day. Sometimes I wonder how I'm going to get through any day. I think of Lauren, and I hear her say, "Do it for me. Do something wonderful for me today. Do something wonderful for all of them today. A smile, a simple act of kindness, a loving gesture. Do it for them. I promise you'll feel amazing." God bless you all. And if I haven't told you today, I love you.